And we're back, yes, for another DWW because it is Wednesday, the day that we celebrate dope and amazing women all over the city of Atlanta. We are so excited to just bring a young woman here today that is all about mental health, and you guys know that is very, very important. So our last CWW was all about the physical, getting your body right, getting your organs right, and now we're dealing with mental health because that is so important. So, tell them who you are.
My birth name is Paige Game, but I actually go by St. Jane. I am the founder of 911 St. Jane, which is a nonprofit geared towards obviously mental health, right? But it's more so for our community. So I'm out here educating the African American community on how important your mental health is. Our main focus is called mental fitness, which is the same as your physical fitness. How well are you dealing with your day? How well are you actually coping with your challenges? So I share my personal story as I live with bipolar disorder. I do a lot of traveling, a lot of speaking engagements, a lot of workshops, so I talk a lot. And that's my mission, is just to educate, empower, and enlighten.
Okay, so of course, the typical question, how did you get started in this mental health world, and how did 911 St. Jane come about?
Okay, so I'm 29. When I was 22, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
Okay.
The moment even getting to there is an entire story. I'm a suicide survivor at the age of 12.
Oh, wow.
So I've been living with mental health challenges for about 10 years before I got help. I was hospitalized, I did the whole nine, and I'm sitting there with this doctor, and he's looking at me, going over my symptoms, and he says, I think you have bipolar disorder. And I always get the question, like, were you sad when that happened? I'm like, heck no, I was excited because finally I had an answer to why my life was the way it was. So good 3 or 4 years later, I was 26. I was talking to a friend of mine, and she's like, if you shared your story, it'd be amazing. And I always knew I wanted to be within my community, but I didn't know what to call it. And she's like, you should do like a Dear Diary thing. And I said, what's St. Jane? And it just popped in my head. And I was like, well, it's kind of an emergency. It's like 911 St. Jane. So Sane is basically something I fight for every day, and Jane is for that untold story, because everybody has one. So it rhymed really cute, and then it also made sense. So that's how I got here. Personal story that I wanted to bring to life and to share with other people.
So at first, when you were revealing your story and going into this business, were you a little bit afraid of just being that open with people? Because, I'm going to be honest, when people think of bipolar, they think of so many different negative connotations with being bipolar. So were you afraid a little bit about that?
So funny thing, I was in my bedroom, and I'm on Twitter when I first started St. Jane. So I was on Twitter, and this link popped up and said, if you write your story, we may publish it. So I'm like, what? Why not? And so I'm in my room writing the story of how, my entire story. And I called my mom in, and I had her read it, and she just started crying. She's like, it's beautiful. So I type it up, and 2 weeks later, I see my picture pop up on the internet, and it's my entire story. So I called my mom, and I'm like, girl, I'm famous. And she's like, what are you talking about? And so my story's all over the internet. So I think I was scared, but not scared enough to not do it.
Yeah.
So my family members read it. I had best friends. I had childhood friends. So it didn't matter to me. The need was so great that it really didn't matter.
Yeah. So that mental health in the Black community is kind of like taboo. We don't do therapy. We don't do anything outside of, pray. That's kind of our thing. And of course, that's a huge part, but you also have to balance it out with therapy and things of that sort. How has that been? Has that been difficult for you, trying to kind of push the agenda of that therapy and help and stuff?
I'm not going to say it's been difficult. It's more of a transparency thing. So I was at my family's house for Thanksgiving, and I talk about therapy like it's drinking water. And I'm sitting there with my aunt, 2 cousins, and I said, I got a new therapist. I said, it's a Black woman, she's amazing. And my cousin was like, my therapist is a Black woman. And my aunt was like, my therapist is a Black woman.
Oh, wow.
So it's more so of a transparency. You're making it normal. And then people start sharing, because it's more so of a taboo that you don't want to talk about it. But thankfully, people are actually going out and getting the help that they need. We just have to share that we're doing it and that it's okay and that it's normal.
So how how did you go about kind of branding yourself and getting yourself out there to the point where now you are doing workshops and this is a full-time business for you? How did that process look?
I hustled. I'm a foot to the ground. So I started off just running. My first speaking engagement was at a family reunion.
Oh, wow.
It was like 400 people. And it was a side of the family I didn't know that well. So it was still nerves there. And as soon as I started speaking, I knew that I was supposed to do something like this. And about 6 months following that, my parents, so proud, they were playing the video back, and somebody heard me speak. And they said, "Who is that?" And I want to know more. So I got a call from the University of Arkansas. And that's how I started my workshops. Yeah, it was a grant called the Promise Program. And they work with about 300 kids who live with mental health challenges. And they said, "We want you to teach a workshop." And that was my first time teaching. And since then, I just kept going. So I kept learning, getting certifications, going to meetings, staying in the community. I got involved with NAMI, the National Alliance for Mental Illness. They have workshops. I was there every weekend. I was everywhere for free. Let's just point that out there. I did stuff for free for a very long time because you have to, you know.
Yeah, you gotta get your feet wet.
So I hustled a lot. I still do.
So in our community, do you feel like it's harder to preach this to Black women or to Black men? Where the difficulty, or even if it is a difficulty?
Oh man, that's a hard question. Let me see. I'm not gonna say it's harder for either. It's just different.
Yeah.
One thing I have recognized is Black men prefer women therapists and Black women prefer male. I like the Black woman. That's my thing. But a lot of Black men that come to me, which I get a lot, and it makes me feel really good because they're comfortable. Yeah. So they'll come for resources and things like that, and I always send male therapists. They're like, I don't want to talk to no man. So they'll ask for female therapists, but it hasn't been one or the other. Because everybody has their stuff. And I think with the education that's going along now, people are recognizing their symptoms as such.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people are saying, you know what, I thought when I was playing basketball as a kid, I was tripping, but really it was anxiety. You know, so you're just having people recognize what was really going on.
So explain to us exactly what is bipolar disorder. Because so many people, they think so many different things about it, but what exactly is it and how exactly do you go about treating it?
So it is simply stated, if it can be simply stated, it's highs and lows, right? So you can have mania, which is your high. You're very energetic, you don't have to have much sleep, you're funnier, you're sillier, you're a lot more creative, which is why I liked it at one point in time. You're just on top of the world. And then within a split second, it can be the same high, but a lot of anger. And then you go from that high to a low. I have a friend describe it as being on top of your bed, jumping up and down, to being under your bed crying. And that's the best way that she could have ever explained it. I'm like, that makes so much sense to me. So it's the most extreme situation. The way to go about treating it, this is a sensitive topic. I'm pro-medication. A lot of people are not. But as for St. Jane, I am definitely pro-meds. So between medication, meditation, and therapy, and just basic self-care, going to sleep on time, getting 8 hours of rest, exercising, just taking care of yourself, it all goes together. So yeah, I think that's my treatment. Everybody's different though.
Yeah. So like let's just say a young lady is watching this and she is dealing with the same things that you may have dealt with or are dealing with, and she's trying to make it fit into her everyday life without, maybe she doesn't want to be as transparent as you. What is something that you could offer to her?
Build a support system. Find somebody you are comfortable with, even if you're not disclosing, hey, I have bipolar disorder. It's okay to disclose and say, today has not been my best day. Can you just listen to me? You know, girlfriends are everything. Even my parents are my biggest support system. I'm very quick to call them and say, today has not been the best day. Don't do things alone if you don't have to. Outside of that, write. That's the best therapy. Journaling is everything. Therapists will tell you that's better than their therapy. They will. It's free too. That's why I think it's free. It's affordable. Do it. But having a support system and knowing that you're worth it. I know I struggled with self-worth for a really long time, and kind of just living with the idea of this is all my life is going to be. I'm only going to have so much because I have this disorder, and recognizing that that wasn't the truth. That was the most empowering thing ever. So don't give up. Recognize you are still capable of doing so much more, probably more than the next person, because you still have to fight so much harder. So just keep going. Find what you need and what works for you, and keep going.
So you said something about self-worth. How do you kind of just obtain that highest level of self-worth when you've been through so much? Life has disappointed you so many times. How do you even obtain it? And then if you lost it, how do you get it back?
Oh man, I'll say support system again, but for me it was writing and therapy. I was just enlightened on it was okay to have pain. And I was able to own it and say, you know what, somebody else did this to me, but that's okay. It's my responsibility to take care of myself. And more than that, I deserved it. I didn't want to live with somebody else's stupid mistake, you know, from childhood or adulthood, whatever it may have been. So finding your self-worth and overcoming stuff. And it's probably the most empowering thing. Therapy, I'll say that the whole it changed my life. But just to have somebody say, you know, it's okay to cry. Those tears are valid. It's very validating. And once you're able to heal and move past it, you just become stronger. And your triggers aren't as strong and you're not as angry as you were. You have a lot more control. And when you have control, you have control on who you let in your life. And
that's very
what
true.
you tolerate.
Yeah.
So
like when a lot of people think about therapy, they think about like, so tell me how do you feel? You know, and so it may kind of scare people. Like, what is something that'll kind of push, if a person is dealing with something right now watching this, what is something that you would say that will more so push them towards therapy? You know, because they may be thinking like it's something that it's not, because we only kind of go by what we have seen on TV. So, you know, what advice can you offer them?
My advice is find somebody that suits you, but it's literally your time to speak your truth. Therapists are supposed to listen and not speak. So if you have a therapist that's talking too much, I suggest you ask them to not, or find a new therapist. It's your time to, first all be about you. And I think everybody deserves that at one point in time. So I just encourage you to go about it. You talk about whatever you want. It's all in your control. And I feel like that's necessary these days. Did I answer?
No, you did.
Yes, okay.
So a part of your job is like going out and speaking to different schools. What is your most favorite thing about your career, and then what is like your least favorite thing about your career?
Recently, my most favorite has been working with law enforcement.
Okay.
Very interesting, right? Because you walk into this room and you have these police officers, they have their hand on their gun, and they're just like, I know everything. But to sit there and have these in-depth conversations of, this is how you deal with a suicidal person. This is how you deal with the person that's mentally ill. And to see them actually apply that knowledge and respect you for it, it is, it's empowering, but you also know you're affecting an entire community. And you're addressing more than one stigma. So being a Black woman and representing the Black community and the mental illness community, it's like,
it's a lot.
It's a lot, right? But to be able to break that barrier, have that conversation, and decrease the stigma on both sides at the same time, I love it. That's been my favorite thing. My least favorite is seeing kids suffering. I work in suicide prevention. My youngest is 10 and my oldest is 24. So having to deal with that, it takes an emotional toll. Yeah. I'm not gonna say it's my least favorite, it's my most challenging.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like that's deep. That's a huge pill to swallow. So I always love to ask questions about like social media. Do you feel like social media plays a huge part in your business as a Black entrepreneur, female entrepreneur? Or do you feel as though social media is something that you can kind of like, if you have it, you have it. If you don't, you don't.
As far as business?
Yeah, as far as business is
It's a funny question. I get into it with my friends about this all the time. So I have friends that say, you know, your business is fine without it. And then I have friends that say, no, you need to push more content. You have so much more to offer. I'm kind of in the middle. So I don't even know if I have an answer for that, because it affects your mental health so much. And I'm already so vulnerable with my life. It's 9 times harder to be that vulnerable via social media as well. So I promote, like the event that we did, I put that up. I promote things that I'm doing in the community. But I guess I could be a little more vulnerable about my daily But it is a challenge. But it's been fruitful, I will say that. People want to contact you about a sensitive topic like this, they'll find you. And that has shown to be my truth. So they still find me.
So you said something about social media, which is funny, and mental health. What steps do you feel like we as a community need to do when it comes to balancing social media and mental health?
Follow the right people. If getting online upsets you seeing a girl with the best body, I'm sorry, unfollow her. Find something that's positive. Find an inspirational person. Find somebody that is going through depression that day. You know, everything has a hashtag. You can go on there and find exactly what you need. Find something that is going to make you feel good. I just posted something maybe 2 weeks ago. I'm like, I need new people to follow because it's just been, I'm a little bored. I'm not inspired. And I'm not in the gym yet. So I'm tired of seeing all these girls that are just out here on it. No, but find something that is going to be best for you. I'm not going to say completely come off. That's not really realistic right now. But limit your time, but find something that is good for your brain. Like something that's good for your mental health.
So last question, I always ask our guests this because of course this is Rated Her. We're all about women. We're all about just making women feel good, especially women of color. How important is it to have a tribe for your sanity, for your mental health? And do you feel as though every woman needs one in order to go places and be who she is destined and designed to be?
Very important. Your tribe is your support system. So my parents and I, we've been through, oh my gosh, so much together. And if we had not gone through that, our relationship probably would not be what it is. So that I have really good friends that went through my diagnosis with me, and we're the best of friends now. So my situation has it's proven who's by my side.
Exactly.
So it's not huge, but it's solid.
And that's what matters.
Yeah, it's very solid.
It's always quality over quantity.
Exactly.
Yes.
So before I did an event without my parents because they're usually there. And that was the worst event that ever happened. And I was like, oh my God, like I needed them there. So I know I have to have somebody in my ear. And I think it's really important, especially jumping out and doing something on your own. It's always going to be somebody like, you know, she can't do that.
So you need that reassurance. All right, so guys, we're going to take a quick break because you guys know, like, y'all know the deal. We don't really do a bunch of talking without some sort of drink because, you know, that just really, all this good information that she gave us, we need to really just solidify it and, you know, really hold it down, and nothing holds it down like a good drink. So we'll be right back, ladies. Okay, so ladies, we are back, and of course we have a nice little beverage in our hands because we just got finished having some good old-fashioned talk. So, Paige, we truly appreciate what you're doing in our community, especially mental health is something that for so many years we have kind of, no, something wrong with me, I'm okay. And the fact that you are sharing your story, being transparent, being vulnerable, being open in order to heal and help others is something that we truly admire you for. So that is why you are this week's DWW Dope Woman Wednesday, and for that we shall toast.
Thank you.
So we're gonna take a toast, and while I sip on my juice, Paige is gonna give you guys all of her info, social media, website, so that you guys can contact her, reach out to her, and the floor is all yours.
Yes, so I am everywhere. Everything will be 911sanejane.com. 911 Same Jane Instagram, same for Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm everywhere. And if you just Google it, my story will actually pop up as well. So I'm all over Google, and that is my social media.
Yes, ma'am. So we truly, truly appreciate you for coming out, and we appreciate you for taking up this time with us and just really breaking down the stigmas when it comes to mental health in our community, the Black community. So we are so appreciative. And ladies, do not forget to follow Paige. Reach out to her. If there's something that you may be struggling with when it comes to mental health, reach out to her. If you have an event that you would love for her to be a part of, contact her rates because she needs her coins, okay? And just hit her up. And do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at rateddHER, RATEDDHER. And do not forget to follow us on Instagram at rateddHER. And until next time, ladies, we love you, we thank you, we appreciate you, for me, for she, for her. rateddHER. Bye.